Alright, what is going on everybody over at Anthem Central? How you guys all doing today? My name is Matt and welcome back to the channel, and I'm bringing you guys one of my first Anthem VIP demo videos. I know guys, it's been a while. I've had such a rough time trying to get on this demo today with all the technical issues and unfortunately my own stupidity. Been very unfortunate, but I would like to share with you guys what I believe to be the best settings in Anthem at the moment. This has come from extensive testing and messing around with a lot of the different settings in this game, and I thought you guys might be interested in this because obviously this applies not only to the VIP demo, but to the open demo and the full game as well. So definitely do stick around no matter when you are watching this, because I'm going to be showing with you guys what I believe to be the best settings in Anthem. Now, what am I using as a metric here? What am I looking for, and why do these matter? And that's kind of what I want to preface the video with. Well, the first things that I want to talk about are the metrics that I'm looking for here. So the first metric is dopamine release. This is overall satisfaction from gameplay. This has to do with visuals, sound, of course the type of the way the damage kind of counts show up on screen, the way the damage profiles show up. All these different things are designed to keep me playing the game for longer, because obviously I want to enjoy the game as much as possible. And if certain subliminal, small, little microscopic things are aiding my experience in some way, I do believe they're definitely worth being attentive towards. The second metric is actual gameplay. How are these settings helping me out in game? How are they helping me do well, kill enemies better, and be more efficient? That's exactly what I am looking for here in this gameplay. Of course, the gameplay you guys are watching in the background is me with all of these settings sort of, tested out and, looked through and making sure that I have everything exactly the way I want it. Now, of course, there is some room for subjection. Of course, there is room, for your own personal preference. So I want to talk about my overall ideology and thoughts on the way this entire game works and the way these settings are applicable to just about any players in this game. Alright guys, so what we're looking at here is my overall setting configuration for Anthem. Now obviously, there's a lot of stuff you guys have to look through, a lot of settings. Obviously you have the journal, the challenges, library chores, all this stuff. Most of this stuff is pretty standard. You just kind of use these features, but what I find the most important, definitely the most intriguing at the moment, is the overall settings tab. So looking at the settings here is something I've spent a ridiculous amount of time on, honestly more time than even grinding levels, and along with the horrible frame rate drops, loading screens, there's been a lot of free time on my hands, so I've spent a lot of time talking and working on these settings. So starting off with your general, there's really nothing important there. It's actually very little general and more oddly specific settings. I'm going down, of course, to the controls tab. There's a couple things here. So you're going to want to leave these inverted things off. I see no reason to have them, honestly. I see no function, unless you're an inverted player, and again, if that's your type of thing, then definitely go for it. Sprint mode I like to have on toggle, flight mode even on toggle, because the movements are very nuanced in this game. There's no reason for you to be constantly, running or even having to, like do awkward kind of movements with this. I see really no reason to do that. Again, the way that these things kind of go, is pretty standard. When you take a flight, you go in the direction that you're aiming. All of it pretty fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Now here, under the controller tab, this is where I found some major important kind of discussion going on here and improvements from the way the game starts out. So the game starts you out at 30, and I think a lot of people may actually leave those settings the same. What I have to tell you is that is definitely not the best set of sensitivities you guys can have, and here's why. So the aim sensitivity obviously is just your general aim, the way you're generally aiming, and this is great for just generally locking on to enemies. And I find that the way the enemies disperse in this game, you're fighting either a very narrow spread or a very horizontal spread, usually not in the middle. Usually they're either very horizontally spread out, or they're kind of right in a straight line. And having very sharp, consistent sensitivity for your aim is definitely better than getting all up close and then you're using your left stick. It's a bad idea. And I find that a lot of gamers do this because you're actually controlling your body more with the left stick. But what you really want to do is work from a distance and control your overall aim. And again, because of the way the enemy clusters seem to work so far, the aim sensitivity being on 70 works wonderful for me. It feels very smooth, feels very fluid, and again, I'm a very high sensitivity player in video games in general, so you might want to turn that down maybe to 60, but I'd say 70 is a really solid place to start. You can either turn it up or down from there. Now, zoom sensitivity, kind of the same thing, man. This is just your aim sensitivity while zoomed in. I like having it on 70, maybe even 80. I don't know, man, maybe even 80. See, when you zoomed in, it's a little harder to move your stuff around, so maybe even 80 on that one. For your flight sensitivity, this one isn't as critical, but still kind of important. This is your general kind of overall looking around when you fly. I'd say maybe even, you know, somewhere high up in the 70s works for this one as well. For your swim sensitivity, not that important. You don't swim all that much. But again, I like keeping that sort of high up as well. Now here's your control stick layout. I keep it on default. I don't have any reason to go with any of these weird ones. I know some people are really big fans of like Southpaw and Legacy and stuff, so if that's your thing, definitely go for it. Here you can actually do an alternate button configuration, which is actually quite interesting. So let's say we turn this on, you're actually be moving the reload, interact, and switch weapon to the triangle and the melee to the square. So if we turn this on, just out of curiosity, I really don't like this all that much. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, honestly. I mean, this is your weapon switching. I mean, I guess if you prefer it. This is more of a preference thing, but it's definitely something to think about. I might actually rock with this for a little bit, believe it or not. This reminds me more of a Call of Duty sort of Destiny style layout. So if this is something that you're used to, then by all means go for it. That's definitely something I hadn't used before, but definitely does seem like something that might be worth trying out now, of course. Now going over to the remaining settings here, back to the controls here. I keep vibration on. It's not that important. I just enjoy the immersion. Technically, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, but I like the sacrifice because I do enjoy the immersion. Now, under audio here, this is very important as well. It might start a little loud. I turned the master volume down a little bit. Really nothing that big of a deal. This actually is pretty cool. This actually adjusts the volume of your bullet impact. So if you want to turn this up, it does seem a little satisfying, getting a little extra boost to your little hit markers on the enemies. For speakers, this is very important as well. Put it onto headphones, guys. Especially if you're a gamer, obviously, unless you're like blaring it through your TV, which most people don't do. Put it on headphones, guys. It feels much better. I've noticed a significant improvement in that. Under video, you just leave it kind of standard. Interface, I actually changed something here. The HUD opacity actually is on 100, which I believe it may have been on. The HUD visibility, always want to put it on visible. This will help you in every gunfight. I don't see a reason why they'd put it on conditional at all, unless you for some reason want to feel like really oddly immersed. But you're just putting yourself again at a disadvantage. You do want to leave all of these on. Again, you're just giving yourself every edge you can in your engagements. But this was something I remember definitely changing the HUD visibility to always as opposed to conditional. Definitely something important I really think you guys should do. Now, under the damage loadies tab, you don't have to have this enabled. It comes enabled. I mean, it's pretty cool. And as I mentioned earlier, this ties into your sort of dopamine release, kind of constantly keeping you feeling like you're having some sense of accomplishment and doing something cool. So I buffed this up from 50. It starts only at 50 to like 80, and it does look quite cool. And you know, you go all the way if you want. You go to 100, and you know, I mean, you probably have a blast with that. And again, it's just working on your overall mental satisfaction for putting time in and effort into the game. Everything else, this is all just kind of random BS, nothing overly important there. But that's overly it, guys. I really do appreciate you all stopping by. Again, it feels nice having this type of sensitivity, this type of overall kind of ability to do this and movement, to look around sharply, to move in directions nicely. Just about everything really does feel quite nice here, and that's kind of why I spent so much time on these settings. With that being said, guys, thank you all for watching. Immensely appreciate it. If you guys are new, drop a like, hit that subscribe button, join my Discord, follow my Twitch, all that good stuff. At this point in the video, comment Interceptor down below in the comments, just to prove you made it up to the end of the video. You guys know you can. Comment Interceptor down below in the comments. Thank you all so much as always. My name is Matt. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.